And we are ready to go. Perfect. Welcome, everybody. Good to be here with you again. So, we're going to shift our focus in another important aspect of how we can handle this situation now. And we're going to focus on love. We're going to explore love as a very powerful and effective tool to navigating through the situation, to having everything in our life be just okay. Not have any problems, have all those problems disappear, just have everything continue going smoothly, perfectly for you. Love will do it for you. So we're going to explore that power of love. But before we get into that, I just want to explore what it is that we're really talking about with love. You see, a lot of us in the releasing community and the spiritual community, we can get into a sort of optimism bias. And if you don't know what an optimism bias is, it's just assuming that everything's going to be all right. And here's how it looks like in the spiritual community. You have this belief that love is a very powerful force. And you're like, okay, love is the most powerful force. Love will take care of everything. And meanwhile, all around you, the whole world's falling apart. Well, obviously not. I mean, you might say it's true. The masters say that it's true. But if you don't know that it's true for yourself, if you say it, but in the meanwhile, you have a disaster going around you, then you're really not connected with what it is that you're talking about. And I know this for myself. Because a lot of times we think that we're loving when we're really not. And we think that we have it all together, that we know it all. Right? Like I've learned Lester's teachings. I've learned a whole bunch of other teachings. I've learned all about love. I know what love is, and I'm loving. You see, a lot of times we have an optimism bias about ourselves and how loving we are. Oh, I'm a loving person. I'm a good person. But if we have problems, if there are areas in our lives that aren't working, then that's showing us how we are not loving. Now, for me, I found this like when I work on a body issue. So I've told before how I've had a lot of experiences and gains in releasing with my teeth. Like I get a cavity or something and I need some dental work. And then I release and the whole thing goes away. And it's provable. You see x-rays of before and after. With no work done, the whole problem disappears off of the x-ray. Now, sometimes I get it into my mind that, hey, okay, I got this. I know how to do this. So when the next problem comes, I think that I'm loving, but I'm really not. So I have like another toothache. And I'm going to love it now. I've done it before, I could do it again. And so I'm loving, but it's not going away. And then a day after that, it's still there. A week after that, it's still there. What's happening? And see, when I'm not getting results, my cue is to look back at me. Right? So I think I'm loving, but I'm not getting the results. Let's examine, how loving am I? And very quickly, I could start to see I'm not so loving. I'm into trying to control my tooth. It's like, oh, I can fix you. I'm bigger than you. And it's like an attitude of control that I have going on. Or I feel like, oh my gosh, I got this problem. All right, let's use love because I want this problem to go away. And that's not loving. It's like, oh, I love you as long as you get the hell out of here. That's not love. And so I've experienced this for myself. And I've experienced this working with lots of people. on body issues. Just a couple of days ago, I was working with somebody one-on-one on a body issue. And they know the work. They've been doing it for over 6 months now and have been very dedicated, showing up at all the classes, and they're a very good releaser. And they're like, I know what to do. I know what the steps are. And this problem isn't going away. And I could hear in their voice, they're frustrated that it's still there. And they're, okay, I'm loving, I feel love now. Is it still there? They're looking for it. So they're trying to control it. They're loving it as long as it does what they want it to do. And that's not love. So we're going to get into that, explore what is real love? What does it take to really love and know that you're doing it right? So that you get the results. And then we're going to explore how you can apply it with any challenges that you're facing with the situation right now. Whether you're out of work, whether you're having to take a reduction in your salary or whatever it is that you earn, or your health, whatever. See, love applies to everything and any problem, no matter where it is in your life and no matter how big it is. That problem disappears immediately when your love is whole and complete. All right, so we're going to get into that. And then we're going to, at the end of this session here, this coaching session, we're going to do like a nice big meditation so you can feel the love that is ever present in you and know that that love is the real you. It's going to be a super powerful experience. So we got a lot we're going to cover tonight. So I'm glad you're here. All right. Now, is anybody here new to this work that we're doing? Anybody here that's not familiar with this work? Maybe somebody invited you or you found out about it and you registered for this. Let me know in the chat. See, if you're in Zoom, if you go down to the bottom in the app, you'll see a little ... and you can open up a chat box where you could type in the chat. Let me know if you're new. Okay, we got one new person here. Or in the interface, if you click in the bottom in that little ... you can see where you could also raise your hand. And that way you could also let me know. All right, so far it just looks like a couple. Okay, I'll go through a quick recap of what it is that we do here, where it came from, and also about this guy here, Lester Levinson. See, the work that we do, it was discovered by this physicist who, back in 1952, he was at the young age of 42 years old, and he got a second major heart attack. And the condition was so bad that they couldn't do anything for him, and they literally sent him home to die. They said, well, there's nothing we could do, and to give you one of our hospital beds would be a waste. So we're just going to send you home, and we estimate that in about 2 weeks you're going to expire. Now, this was a very frightening thing for Lester to hear. And by the way, I saw in some of you on the YouTube, you said it, if I'm monitoring the chat, I can see it, but I'm mostly paying attention to the YouTube or to the Zoom interface. If you want to join us in the conversation on Zoom, you'll see the link in the description in the YouTube. But I'll keep an eye out if there's anything that I can respond to. I'm still getting used to all of this stuff, but I'm glad you're here. All right, so back to Lester. So he went home with this horrible news that he only had weeks to live. And the first thing that he said to himself when he went home was, Lester, You're stupid. You're incredibly stupid. Or what he said is, Lester, you're stupid, stupid, stupid. That's what he said to himself. Why? Well, Lester, he had a very educated mind. He developed it very well. He'd studied physics, mathematics, psychiatry, psychology, economics, medicine, all the pursuits of man to understand the universe and why we are here in this universe. And the reason why I said, Lester, you're stupid, is because all that information that he gathered and stored in his head was useless. It didn't get him the answers he was looking for. It just got him to where he was going to expire in a few weeks. He had nothing. And that's why I said, Lester, you're dumb. You spent your whole life for nothing. Now, he wasn't dead yet. He said, well, you're still breathing, Lester. So there's still some time to find that answer that you're looking for. Why are you here? What is life about? And that led him into realizing, well, all the knowledge that he accumulated was just a bunch of garbage. And it really is. You know, a lot of us, we think that we're smart. And we study a lot of things. We gather a lot of information. We listen to a lot of experts. And it's just like going up into a filling station to get gas and putting the pump right in your ear and just shooting a bunch of stuff into your head. And that's what we do when we gather information. We just fill our head up with a bunch of noise. And that's what Lester saw. It's just all that information is just a bunch of noise. It didn't get him the answers. So being a proper scientist, he knew that, well, if what I've been doing isn't getting me the results, then I need to start from the beginning and go from there. So that's what he did. He just threw away all of his knowledge and started from scratch. And he started to examine his life. And one thing that he noticed is that all the times that he was sick, and he had lots of problems in his body. He had perforated ulcers. He had every allergy that you could think of. He had jaundice, all sorts of things. And every time his body was sick, and every time his businesses were sick, he was a serial entrepreneur. He had a tendency to make money and lose it, and make it again and lose it, and have his business fail and had to close them. See, all the times when his businesses were unhealthy, and his relationships were unhealthy, and his body was unhealthy, all those times he was looking for love from the world. He was looking for the world to give it to him. And it wasn't there. And even when it did seem to be there, he couldn't feel it anyway. In fact, he laughed at himself. There were times where he could see that he had the love and support of his family and his friends, but he still felt miserable. He still couldn't feel it, even when those around him were giving it to him. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this. We have love and support of our family, but we just feel like, that's not it. I still feel like I'm incomplete, right? We can't get it from the world. And Lester saw that as much as he was looking for it from the world, that was creating his problems and making him sick. Whereas conversely, the times in his life when he was healthy and his relationships are great and his businesses were booming, he wasn't looking for love from the world. The opposite. He was giving it. And he was giving it without any thought of receiving anything for the giving. Not even any acknowledgement for it. Just giving it freely. Giving it unconditionally. And those were the moments in his life where he felt great. And the results improved where he was coming from. His life was great. His relationships are great. Everything was great. So he asked himself, well, if I could let go of my looking for it, if I could let go of that non-loving feeling that I'm constantly walking around with, if I could somehow just let that go, would that make a difference with my body situation right now? So that led him to stumble upon a natural ability that we all have, to let go. Let go of our negativity. Let go of our non-loving feelings, like our anger, our hate, our distress, our judgment, our guilt. All these things that go through our mind, we can let them go. A lot of times we're struggling with this garbage in our mind, wondering, well, my mind's driving me crazy. I can't control my mind. And we aren't even listening to ourselves. See, we just say it. My mind is driving me crazy. Whose mind? My mind. Well, if it belongs to me, why am I letting it drive me crazy? Right? So I'm going to show you, for those of you who are new, just a brief demonstration how you can let go of your non-loving feelings and the feelings that bother you. And you'll see that when those feelings get out of the way, your picture of the world, in any problem, any situation that's not right, that picture changes. Instead of feeling like it's bigger than you, you feel like you're bigger than it. That you have answers. Or if you don't have them right now, you can get them. You just feel calm, secure. So even psychologically speaking, it makes a big difference in your attitude towards the world and the results that you get. But you'll see it goes even deeper than that. That when you come from this position, oftentimes you don't have to do anything about the world. You just let go, get out of the way, just love, 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 and everything's perfect. Everything's incredible. Everything's in abundance. So this is a very handy skill to have with what's going on in the world right now. All right, so I'll give you just a quick demonstration of how to let go. And this is just a very simple, basic demonstration. And as we move on, we'll work one-on-one. And some people here might be more advanced. So I'm going to keep everything at a very simple tone. But if someone does something advanced, you can just continue doing the simple thing I'm going to show you right now. It'll work, all right? So think about something that is really bothering or upsetting you with the situation that's going on. And maybe it's something that's personal to you. Maybe you're feeling a financial pressure. Maybe you're feeling a pressure of having to stay in. You're not having the freedom to go outside as much as you would like, do the things you want to do. Or what's bothering you, you might see some of the stuff that's going on in the world. There's some big stuff that's happening. There are a few countries that are on the brink of war right now. And it's not being talked about so much in the news, but if you look, you're going to see that things are really at a threshold right now where things can explode. There's also the possibility for millions and millions of people to suffer a famine across the world. They've identified at least 12 countries because of the economic shutdown. People are going to starve, the whole country. And even in, big, powerful countries, this is also happening. So you might be aware of some of this stuff that's going around. And that might be bothering you. Right? So what is it that's bothering you? And when you think about this, notice all this information that you're looking at right now is just coming from your mind. And look at what your mind is doing. It's replaying some news that you heard earlier today or before. It's replaying a conversation that you had with somebody that told you about maybe a relative of theirs that just died from the virus, or told you about, they got laid off and things are going to get worse. And see, what your mind is doing is playing that information back to you. And that's all the mind is just a recording and playback machine. That's all it does. It records everything, and then it plays it back to you, whether you want to listen to it or not. Now, from the neck up, it doesn't erase any of this information. But where you can erase it, see, if you feel bothered, I'll show you how to get rid of it. You do that from your feeling center, from the neck down. So think about the situation that you're really bothered by. And what I want you to do as you're thinking about it is close your eyes and put your head down toward your stomach or chest. This will just shift your focus to what you're experiencing, feeling right here. As you think about the situation, notice if there's a tightness or contraction that shows up right now in your stomach or chest. Kind of a clenching feeling. You notice that? Now what I want you to do is just open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that energy, wherever you feel it. If you feel it here in your chest, or maybe a little bit lower, maybe kind of close to your throat, wherever it is, just open up a door right in front of it. And imagine that energy now going right on out the door. Just let that energy leave. And let that energy leave even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. Just let that energy go. It's just energy. It's not good. It's not bad. Just see it as energy passing through. And you could use your imagination, whatever it looks like to you. There's no right or wrong way to visualize it. You could see it as smoke or water or light, just going on out that open door. And just watch it leave even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how that feels. Notice a difference. Does it feel a little bit lighter? And that's all we're looking for. It's just a lighter feeling. This is just showing you can let go of the negativity, of the feelings that bother you. Instead of having to struggle with them, instead of having to manage them, hold them down so you can get by through your day, or running away from them. Sometimes we go to bed. Oh, I got to go to sleep. I got to knock myself out for a while just so I can recover. Or maybe drink a few beers so I'm lightheaded and I'm not so bothered by my feelings anymore. So we have all these ways of coping with our feelings, but no one's ever taught us how to just let them go. But we all know how to do it. It's a natural thing. Little kids do it easily. You see them. Like they're playing with each other. Then one of them takes the other's toy, and then they start fighting with each other. But 5 minutes later, they're best friends again, like nothing ever happened. You see, little kids know how to let go. We knew how to let go. The problem is as we grew up, we started to develop habits otherwise. We started to judge our feelings and judge ourselves. Oh, that's a bad feeling. I don't like how that feels. I don't like that fear. And what do? We say no to our fear. No, get out of here. I don't like you. And what do? We push that fear down. But does that make the fear go away? No. We hold on to it and we collect it. And so as we've grown up, we've been collecting these feelings, fear, frustration, all this stuff. And that's why as we get older, we seem to get heavier and heavier, not just around our bodies, in our consciousness. And we feel like more and more limited, more and more set in our ways, because we're listening to the mind. Right? But now we can undo all of that. So think about something now that worries you. Maybe you're worried about the long run of the economy. How long is it going to take for things to get back to normal? How much am I going to have to sacrifice? And how long? Am I going to have to give up my house? Am I going to have to find a job digging ditches? Because there's nothing else to do. Right? What's worrying you? And when you think about that, again, close your eyes, put your head down towards your stomach or chest, and notice that there's a tightness, a clenching feeling, a contraction. Now open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that. And watch that energy move right on out the door. Just watch it leave. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And just open up even more. Let that energy pass through. Just let it leave. And notice it's eager to leave. It wants to leave. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to push it out. You just open up the door, get out of the way, and it just leaves. It's been wanting to leave all this time. It's just been waiting for your permission. Right? So let go even more. And even more. And even more. And how does that feel? Do you feel lighter? And that's it. That's all we're looking for. Just a lighter feeling that's showing that you're moving in the right direction. Now, check this out. Think about that situation that you were worried about. And see if you're as worried now as you were a few moments ago. Or do you feel less bothered? More peaceful? More positive? More of a sense of, it's okay. I can find an answer. Right? There's a solution. Notice the difference? And this shows you how you can very quickly overcome your mind and take your power back from your mind. Because it is yours. Right? Like I said before, when you say, my mind is driving me crazy, we don't even know what it is we're saying. My mind. Oh, you mean it belongs to me? Well, why am I letting it drive me crazy? Right? We put ourselves in a position where we're letting that mind boss us around. Tell us what to think. Tell us how to feel. Tell us what we can or cannot do. And we're groveling to it. Tell me what I can or cannot do. And letting it dictate to us on its terms. And notice, most of the response that you get from your mind, it's crazy negative, right? They have that expression, rarely do we stop and smell the roses. I wonder why. What is the mind mostly focused on? Drama, negativity. And that voice in your head, how does it talk to you? How often does it say nice things, empowering things? Versus, oh, you're not good enough. You screwed up today. You're not worth it. And it tells you to beat yourself up. Now, how smart is that? To give your power to something that tells you to beat yourself up all the time, when you are, in fact, the owner of it. It is your mind, after all, right? Is it talking to anybody else but you? It totally belongs to you. So now, you see, the difference is when you opened up that door, you let that energy go, now the mind's gone quiet to a certain degree. And you feel more positive. You feel more of a sense of, yes, I can. You may not know why. It may not make sense. But you just feel like I'm much better than I was a few moments ago. Where'd that come from? Now, you didn't have to do some sort of Jack Canfield thing and, tell yourself how great you are. This isn't positive thinking. You don't have to do that. You just let go of the negativity and see underneath it, that's covered up by all that negativity, is all the positivity, power, and love that you're looking for. And you're starting to experience it right now. So, as you continue doing what we do here, this gets better and better and better. And this is the love that you're looking for. This is the love that changes things and makes the world exactly as you would like it to be. All right. So, let's go ahead and open up the call here. So, for those of you on Zoom, and if you would like to join the conversation, if you're on YouTube, go to the description. You'll see a link to register for the Zoom, and you'll get the access to join us here if you want to do that, or just hang out and follow along. So if you would like to share where you're at, what's going on, and do a little work here, dig a little deeper, raise your hand or type in the chat. All right, Tarita, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. I can hear you now.
Yeah. So, Chris, my work has been going wonderfully well, and it's booming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great aim that I have had recently. And I can feel it that I can take it to the next level, which I was avoiding. But suddenly all the resistance, all those reasons are coming up why I can't take it to the next level. All those house responsibilities and things, and I'm tired all the time. I have so much work. So my mind was not happy when I have no work. And now it's not happy because I have a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
and I want to move to the next level where I can take it to the
Yeah, get
next
rid of
level.
your mind.
Yes,
See, notice the difference. When you have that feeling like, yeah, everything's going good. Like the economy everywhere else is going down, but I'm going up.
yes,
And and I know that that's natural. I can't explain it, but I just know, right?
yes,
And when you say like, yeah, I'm inspired to take it to the next level. See,
yes.
where's that coming from? Is that coming from your mind, or is that
No,
coming from like somewhere more important?
somewhere more important. Definitely, my mind doesn't want me to do anything.
Yeah. See, it's like the real you that's expressing itself,
Yes.
and there's a lot of power in that encouragement. Yeah, it's like it really motivates
Yeah,
you.
I feel that way. Yeah, I feel that way.
Yeah, and then you had the buzzkill step in.
Yes,
Oh, but what about this? What about
yes,
that? And you got that problem. Oh, by the way, you can't do it. Who do you think you are? Right?
yeah. No, that part is working very well. As I'm moving ahead, I'm digging out more thoughts of you're not good enough, and I'm letting them go. That's the best thing that has happened
Uh huh.
recently. Moving ahead, every day I dig out one thought which tells me I'm not good enough. I release. I work with my clients. The end of the day, I realize I'm very much good enough. Many things.
You are. You see, the mind is a liar. And
Yes.
this is something that I'm sometimes very careful to say. I just say it to people that are more experienced releasers. Because to the to most people, when I say this, I get a lot of resistance. I get a fight on my hands. But what I say is, look, your mind is a liar. Every single thing that it's
Yes.
telling you is a lie. Now, to an educated person, they'll argue with that. Right? I got a bunch of book knowledge. I'm a physicist. I'm a chemist, and everything that I study, these are rules. These are facts, right? And these are indisputable. Now, I'll get a fight with that. I'll also get a fight with spiritual people too, right? So, oh no, I have a bunch of positive thoughts. I wake up in the morning, I look at myself in the mirror, I tell myself what a great person I am and how wonderful I am today. My mind is a very important thing, and it tells me, how to be empowered and all this stuff. So,
What a stuck prideful position is that where you're not moving ahead?
look, it's true. If you take on the attitude that everything that your mind is telling you, even the good information, that it's a lie, it's going to help you to discriminate for the real truth. So
Yes.
you see that for yourself. Your mind is lying to you, even when it says you're no good. You know better than
Yes.
that. You
Yes.
can't win. Wait, really? See, look, for everybody here, how many times has your mind told you, oh, no matter what you do, you'll never win? Or you
Yes.
can never get what you want, right? Has your
Yes.
mind ever told you that?
24 by 7.
Yeah. But really? You can never get what you want? You could probably
No,
count at
that's
least
not
10
true.
things today that you got what you wanted.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And if you look, you'll see it all the time. Things do go my way. I can get what I
Yes.
want.
It does.
So, but my
It
mind
does.
will never let me know about that. It'll
Yes.
tell me the opposite. No, you'll never get what you want.
Yes.
So, when you start examining it like this, it's very easy to see. It only lies. And even when
Yes.
it tells you something important, like something spiritual, like you're an unlimited being, okay, well, that's good knowledge, right? But can you demonstrate it? Or do you have limitations,
Yeah.
right? So even when it tells you something very empowering and so-called truthful, unless
Mm-hmm.
you know it, unless you're actually demonstrating it, you don't know it. And the mind's just lying to you. And it's using
Yes.
that as a substitute for the truth.
Yeah.
So this is why I say, you got to just stop your thinking and treat your mind like it's your worst enemy. It really is. It doesn't mean going to war with it, but just having some discrimination. I'm not going to listen to that thing anymore. Right?
Yes.
All right. So how do you feel about that? What your mind is telling you?
It's quiet after listening to you. Your arguments were stronger than mine's argument.
Okay, so what would it take for you to quiet the mind permanently?
Decision.
Yes, you got it. Now, some of us would say, well, it takes a lot of work, and the mind is such a powerful influence, but we're acting like a victim of it when it is our thing. It belongs to us. We're not a victim of it, we're the owner of it. So you got it right. It's your decision. As soon as you decide to drop the mind, so be it. So it isn't anything other than if you do have the mind and it's your decision, the reason why you have it is because you're deciding to have it.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons why you want to keep it. You feel like you need it, or you're afraid to let it go. You feel like you need it. If you don't have that mind, you won't be able to do your work. You won't be able to find your way home. You're just going to be lost wandering the streets, right? So we hold on to the mind. Are you holding on to your mind?
I think yes. I'm figuring it out because I don't have any idea about the next level.
Okay.
Even mind has no idea.
Okay, so you're trying to figure it out.
Yes.
And what are you doing when you're trying to figure it out? You're looking into your mind for the answer.
Yeah.
All right. So you're asking your mind how to let go of the mind.
Yes.
That's like asking a crack dealer, how do I get off of crack?
Yes.
So.
That's stupid.
All right. So could you let go of wanting to figure it out? Since that's silly. Right? You're asking the abuser how to stop being in a position to be abused.
Yes.
Okay? So could you let go of looking in your mind for that answer?
Yes.
Could you let go of wanting to know?
Yes.
Could you let go of wanting that information?
Yes.
All right? Now, see if you've been hard on yourself, disapproving of yourself, critical of yourself.
Morning. Yes.
Okay? And see, that feeds the mind. And this goes hand in hand with wanting to figure it out. All right? So you're disapproving of yourself. How does that help you?
Doesn't. I feel just tired.
Okay.
Lack of energy.
And who's doing that? Who's beating yourself up? You are, you said, right?
Yes. Yes.
So if you're doing it and it's not resolving anything, now you need to make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up.
I decide to be positive and love myself.
Okay, good. See, that's a smart decision. Now, can you let go of beating yourself up?
Yes.
Could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
All right? How does that feel?
Nice and quiet, very light. I feel the energy back in my body.
All right. Now, could you give yourself some love and approval?
Yes.
And could you give yourself some more love and approval?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you give yourself even more love and approval?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Quiet.
And notice, and I'm saying this for the benefit of everybody here, especially the new ones, notice, you're making a decision. See, you're the owner. And what we don't often look at is ourselves,
Yes.
right? So you have a mind, this voice that talks to you. Who's it talking to?
Me.
Yeah, you. And who are you? See, it's not your name. It's not your story, because that's all stored in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
See, who's it really talking to? Like right now in this moment. Who is here? You are. And this is something that's a part of you that you can't put your finger on. Doesn't have a name, a face, a story, doesn't have a history, doesn't have a future. It's just now. I am.
It's quiet. Yeah. In here. I am. Yes.
It's just a silent presence.
Yes.
See, there's a mind that talks to you, and then there's the presence that's aware of the mind talking to you.
Yes.
And this part is very intelligent. You see?
Yeah.
It has answers like that.
Yeah. I find it easier. I just made a decision. I'm going to do it with ease. How, I don't care.
Right. Now, talking about love. You see, sometimes we feel like, well, I know what love is. I've heard Lester talk about love. He has some great quotes about it. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. I believe that. But you see, even though you've been practicing being loving and being very good at it, you still have a lot of
I use it sometimes.
there's still some non-love that's going on.
I use it
You
to
see,
solve my problems.
you weren't loving your mind so much, right?
Yes.
Now, how does it help you to disapprove of your mind? What do you get out of doing that?
It doesn't. It's just a habit I fell in trap with.
And what you get is a noisier mind,
Yes.
right? The more you
Yes.
disapprove of it, the more you fight with it, the more active it gets.
Yeah. More drama.
All right? So that's not smart. And who's doing that? Who's disapproving of your mind?
I'm doing it.
Yeah. It's your attitude. It's your decision.
Yes.
And like I said before, you see, what we're discovering now by recognizing what our mind is, just this voice in our head, and who I am. I'm just a silent presence that's listening to it. See, when we get lost in our mind, we think that it's us. We think that that voice is us. That's why we think that it's telling us the truth. And we're always going to it for information. Tell me what to do. And same with our body. We think that this body is us. That's so fearful of the virus. I don't want to get in this body. Could die. Don't want to end up on a ventilator. Right? But the silent presence of us doesn't have a body. It's not afraid of anything. It's not afraid of being destroyed. and our
Yes.
beingness, right? But we lose touch with it. We lose the discriminative capacity to realize who we are. We think we're
Yes.
that mind in those stories, that identity.
Yes.
But, see, this is an important point, especially for those that are new. You see, what you're doing here, when I ask you, could you let go of listening to your mind? Yes or no? So you make
Yes.
a decision. And that's coming from the real you. And when I ask you, could you let go of disapproving of yourself? Because how does that help you?
Yeah.
And you decide, could I let it go? Yes or no? You decide yes.
Yes.
And by making the decision, you, the owner, are now standing up and being the owner instead of being
Yes.
deluded that you're that mind.
Mind is the owner. Yeah.
So what we're doing here is just very, very simple. And it is simple because you are that powerful. And the simpler you keep it, the faster you realize your power. So, we're just going to keep it simple here. Are you disapproving of your mind?
Not anymore.
Okay. So you let that go.
Yes.
Now, could you give your mind some approval,
Yes.
even if it constantly harasses you? Could you love it anyway? Even if it's never satisfied, could you give it some approval?
Yes.
Could you give it some more approval?
Yes.
And this doesn't mean that you have to agree with it or listen to it. You can still tell, hey, take a hike. But in a loving way. You see, giving it approval is just an attitude. It's a decision. Could you love it? Yes or no?
Yes. It's easy now.
And could you love it a little bit more?
Yes.
Even if it stays.
Yes.
Even if it gets worse.
Yes.
Right? Could you give it some more approval?
Yes.
And could you give it some more approval?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you love it even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Refreshing. Full of energy.
And see if your mind is quieter.
There is no mind.
Okay, it's just disappeared.
Yes.
Right? Could you leave it that way?
Yes.
And see, this is just a decision, right? Could you allow yourself to be mindless?
Yes.
Just be quiet all the time. And could you allow yourself to live your life, do your work, be with your family, do everything that you're doing without your mind? Just
Yes.
intuitively. You don't think about it. You just
Yes.
do whatever feels natural.
Yeah.
And could you set your mind aside permanently?
Yes.
And
The
just
moment you
allow
said-
the universe to work through you.
Yes.
You see, that's what it's like when you set your mind aside. You tap into a much higher intelligence. And it's just something
The
that
more-
feels like it goes through you.
Yeah.
This is why in the Bible it says, let go and let God.
Yeah.
And it's not I, but the Father who worketh through me.
Yeah.
And this is what Eckhart Tolle talks about. He sometimes talks about himself. And he says, when I come out onto the stage, when I'm talking to a group of people, I have nothing planned. I don't know what I'm going to say. I just sit down and let the words come out.
Yeah.
And you've experienced this too. And this is what I've experienced in doing classes and sessions like this.
Yeah. Now, the moment you said let yourself be in the world, do everything, and be mindless, so much joy came pouring in.
See, that's the real you.
Automatically.
And you can have that joy all the time if you let go of your
Yes.
mind.
Yes.
And all of us can do this. And it takes no time.
Yes.
All right, good.
Thank you so
So
much,
keep up the good
Chris.
work.
Thank you.
Hey, Ashok.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, good to see you.
It's excellent. Beautiful release so far. Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice. I'm working on 3 projects right now, 3 real estate projects.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking it's going to go good, but still I'm having lots of fear because there's lots of hurdles are coming in. Contracts are not working. Contractors are not working the way they are supposed to. So just kind of, stressed.
Okay. All right. So just like we did with Tarita, take a look to see if you're trying to figure out
Yes.
how to get those contracts to go through.
Yes.
And you might have some ideas. Right? You could do this, you could do
Yes.
that. You can reach out and talk to the people. You can kind of get things
Yes.
moving,
Yeah.
right? But you might look at some things and go, well, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. Maybe I might sabotage it if I try to take that action. You don't know, right? So there's a lot of confusion.
Right.
Right? So the mind will give you a bunch of options. The most
Yes.
important thing is just to get quiet, and those options might be good.
Yes.
See, if you get nice and quiet, then you'll see an option and go, that's the one. That's what I can do. And you can do it easily. Or, if you get nice and quiet, you'll see a better answer than any of those. The important thing
Yes.
is to get quiet.
Fine.
So first, just notice right now your mind doesn't have a solution for you, does it?
No.
If it did, then you wouldn't be asking me. You would already be taking care of it and closing the contracts. So it
Yes.
doesn't know.
Yes.
And you see how you can just kind of get lost in spinning with the mind and really get
Yes.
nowhere?
Yes.
So it's a waste of time, and this is what a lot of us do. You see, the mind doesn't have the information. And
No.
yet we keep asking it over and over again. It's like looking in a drawer for something.
Yes.
Like you're looking for your phone. Oh, maybe I put it in the drawer,
Yeah.
but the drawer's empty. And well, it's not in there. But how silly would it be for 5 seconds later to come back? Oh, is it in there now? No, okay. Oh, is it in there now? Right? It's silly. If the drawer's empty, don't look there anymore. Look somewhere else.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So now we see that. We could set that mind aside. Now see if you're worried about it. Or you're doubtful in yourself in being able to
Yes.
close it.
Doubting myself about how to complete the contracts.
Right. So basically you're disapproving of yourself. Can you see that?
Yes.
See, sometimes the disapproval is very obvious. We're really frustrated and beating ourselves up. But sometimes it's subtle. We're
Right.
just doubting ourselves. Can I really do it? Oh, maybe not. And
Yes.
maybe I'll procrastinate. Maybe I'll hope that something will resolve and I won't have to do it.
Right.
Right? And that's just a very cute way of beating ourselves up.
Yes.
Because deep inside, we are an unlimited being. You know that.
Yes.
You've experienced your unlimitedness many times. Everybody here has, whether we're aware of it or not. But
Right.
you know it. So, an unlimited being, to doubt themselves, that is the definition of beating yourself up, right? So
Yes, it is true.
So how does it help you?
Doesn't help.
See, I mean, even in a practical way, does it help you to be productive when you're beating yourself up?
No.
And if you have to get on the phone and talk with somebody, is it a good place to be beating yourself up
No.
in that conversation? So just on a very practical way, never mind this, unlimited business,
Right.
right? It just makes sense,
Yes, it does.
right? Now, who's doing it? Who's beating yourself up?
I am.
Okay, so you're in charge.
Yes.
And now you can make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and worry and beat myself up. What do you decide?
I'm going to be positive and love myself.
All right, good. So could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
Yes.
Could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And could you let it go even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
Right? And how does that feel?
Very quiet. Nice.
Nice. And you said it. The magic word, quiet. See, the mind goes quiet. When the mind goes quiet, you feel nice. This is why we love like a beautiful sunset.
Yep.
You're just going, my God, it's so beautiful. So you're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking about the meeting that you have tomorrow. You're just like, oh, you know? So the mind's quiet, and then you're like, this is the most magical, beautiful moment. I don't want this to stop.
Yes.
And
That's true.
and you're blaming the sunset. The sunset is doing it. No, you just stop thinking for a moment. It's your inner
Right.
beauty that you're feeling. It's so nice. Not the sunset.
Yes.
It's just some colors. All right. Now, could you give yourself some love and approval?
Yes.
Just because it's a smart thing to do.
Yes.
And could you give yourself some more love and approval?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And could you give yourself some more love and approval?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more. And could you love yourself even more?
Yes.
All right. And how does that feel?
Very nice.
All right. Now, take a look at those contracts and see if it's more possible to close them now than a few moments ago.
Yes. More possible to get it done. Finished.
Yeah.
And sell them. Yes.
Yeah. Look, so you might still need to take some action, do some work.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like Lester said,
Right. Nothing.
do the next best thing.
Right.
Right? Now, you've experienced you can get results by releasing only. We don't have to lift a
Yes.
finger. But so what if you still have to take action? If you're releasing, it's more effortless.
More.
And it's fun.
Yes.
So what? So what if I have to walk over and do something? If I'm just nice and quiet, it makes no difference. I have no preference. If I'm at
Right.
work or if I'm sitting at the home on the couch.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
So now, take a look at those people, the buyers, right?
Contractors. They are
The
finishing
contractors,
it.
okay, right? And take a look to see if you're kind of like, oh, those people, they're not doing what I want them to do.
Lots of disapproval.
Okay, so you're complaining about them.
Yes, sir.
Now, we all feel each other. And they could be in another state. They could be in another country. But they
Yes.
still feel you. See, we call it, I got a good vibe about this person or a bad vibe
Yes.
about them. Right?
Yes.
So if you're disapproving of them, guess what? They're picking up on it.
They are. Yeah.
And it's not conscious, but it makes them feel uncomfortable. And they're going, well, why do I want to do business with that person? They don't know why. They just don't feel right.
Right.
Because you're sending them negativity.
Yes.
Now, could you let go of disapproving of them? Could you?
Yes.
Could you let go of disapproving of them a little bit more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of them even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of them even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Very nice, quiet. Quiet.
Now, could you give them some approval? Even if they don't want to do the contract. You see, talking about love. Now, you're a loving guy,
Yes.
but a lot of times we don't realize we're holding it back.
Right.
See, the love is conditional. I love you as long as
Yes.
you as long as you sign the contract.
Right.
I'm happy as long as the deal goes through. If the deal does not go through, then I'm unhappy. I
Right.
feel unsafe, whatever reason, right?
Yes.
And basically, if things don't go my way, I'm negative. That's not love.
Yes.
I'm only loving if you do what I want you to do.
Yes.
Right? Could you love them, even if they take a contract with somebody else?
Yes.
And could you give them some more approval?
Yes.
Could you love them a little bit more? And a little bit more? And even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
All right. And how does that feel?
Very beautiful, very quiet, very nice.
Now get a picture of these contractors. How do they look to you now?
Very nice, working hard to get it done.
Right. See, the picture changes. You notice that? Just like I mentioned before, where when you open up the door, the mind quiets down. Everything's connected. And this is how you short circuit the mind and get it to stop.
Right.
Right? And this shows you that you don't need to put anything positive in. When you just do the work, when you let go of the negativity, you move towards positivity, towards love, your picture changes to that of being loving, of harmony, of abundance.
Right.
And you didn't have to do a vision board or positive thinking. You didn't have to put that in there.
This happens.
Yeah. Now, what would it take for you to drop your mind?
I can drop right now.
Okay. Could you let it go? Right now, get a picture of
Yes.
your mind, whatever it looks like to you. Whatever that means to you.
Yes.
Just get a picture of your mind. And imagine that picture evaporating, dissolving away. And allow it to evaporate and dissolve even more. And even more.
Yes.
And even more. And even more. And how does that feel?
Very peaceful. Beautiful.
And just let your mind be quiet now. Notice the quiet has never left.
Yes.
It was right here all this time. Now just pay
Yes.
attention to the quiet that's all around you, in the room with you.
Yes. 7.
Notice if it has any boundaries or limits.
About it.
No, it just goes on forever. Can you surrender to quiet?
Yes.
And can you surrender to quiet even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Very peaceful. Very nice.
Now, see, the mind is a creative instrument, but it's hard to create when there's a bunch of noise going on in it. And I'm not just talking about metaphysically, I'm talking about even practically. Like if you have a lot of distractions, your mind's all over the place, it's hard to focus and get a job done, right? But even when you set a goal, and you focus on the goal, if you got a bunch of noise in your mind, then the goal is very difficult, if not impossible, to achieve. But now that it's quiet, get a picture of what you like to hold in mind, what you would like to see happen with those contracts. Get a picture of them signed and done. Can you see that?
Yes.
And see the conversations that you're having with the contractors now that the contracts are done.
Yes.
Right? Different conversation with them moving forward, right? And just get a picture of that. Just see it as already done. All those contracts have gone through. Just get that picture now. And how does that feel? Does it feel real?
Very, very
realistic
very real.
And right for you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And see, that's the key. That's how you can hold in mind and create what you want. That we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. We've been talking about the mind and how to be creative.
Right.
And this is another key aspect of it. You just quiet the mind. You just picture what you want and it happens. And the proof is right now, you just feel positive. You feel like, yeah, this is
Very
right. This
confident,
is
yeah.
good. Big difference than
Yes. Yes.
before we started.
Yes.
All right. Wonderful. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we'll do a couple more here. And like I said, we're going to do a nice big meditation in a little bit. But, I want to show you something here. For those of you who are new, I said before that what we're doing here is very, very basic. You know, these releasing skills, as profound as they are, I mean, they make a big difference. But this is just the tip of the iceberg of the work that we do here. This is just kind of like playing around with it and proving, hey, I can let this go. I could change my picture. But you got to really dig deep if you want to make it like a lasting change. You can get a little bit quiet, but then you got a bunch more noise subconsciously. And that's what you have to really go for. So I have a whole program here. If you want to jump into this and really get serious about what it is that we're doing, check this out. So I have an online course that has 21 hour-long videos where I take you through exercises. I take you through all the tools, give you everything that you need to do. And if you go to powerofquiet.com, you'll see it's normally $297. But since this coronavirus situation has been going on, I've been doing these support calls every week and giving you resources to make it easy to lift yourself out of the situation. So I dropped the price. I took $200 off of it. So it's just $97 if you use that coupon code MF200. So if you use that, it'll take $200 off. A lot of you have already done that, taken advantage of it, and have gotten the course and gotten great feedback. I always get great feedback of this course. It's really nice. So I highly encourage you to go check that out. You can go to powerofquiet.com. Again, use that coupon code MF200. And you got no risk, even with $97. If you don't like it, you got a 30-day guarantee on it. You can get your money back. And also, For those of you that really want to get serious and take the next step, in a couple of weeks here in May, I'm doing an advanced 6-week course called Living Your True Purpose. And this is a course about freedom and doing what it really takes to go all the way. Not just go a little bit further on the path, but go all the way and reach the ultimate goal. And it takes some certain skills, like being able to release constantly. It takes being able to practice discrimination so you can catch your mind and stay in front of it, and instead of letting it lead you around, which is so easy to do. So we're going to be practicing all these things so you can get really good at releasing. Make it constant and make it like your lifestyle to be releasing throughout the day, not just a little bit here and there, but moment by moment, and not just at the surface, but deep. See, this is what's going to really get you to go free so you can experience where Lester's at. And you can have a look like Lester all the time. So that's what we're here to do, is to find our true purpose. And that's what this 6-week course is. And immediately following this, I'm doing another 6-week course called the Wealth Manifestation Course. So you can move beyond all the programs that everyone in the world is telling you about how hard life is going to get, how bad the economy is going to get, how rough it's going to be. If you want to fall for that picture, you're welcome to do it, but you don't have to. In this course, we're going to show you how to have a completely different picture, really focus not just on getting by, but growing, becoming abundant. So if you want a whole new wealth mentality, then that's what we're going to do in the Wealth Manifestation course. Now, again, to make it easy for you to take advantage of this and set yourself straight so you can really come into alignment with your true purpose and use your thinking effectively to have a wealth consciousness and create abundant life for yourself. Seriously, create it for yourself. Then, like I said, I'm going to have it easy for you. Normally the class is $495. And if you sign up for the True Purpose course, it's $495. But if you want to add on the Wealth Manifestation course, you could do it for just $100 more. So you can get both of those for $595. If you go to the website, you'll see a special button in the Living Your True Purpose course that will allow you to get both of those. So just $100 more, you can get 12 weeks. This is going to set us up for like the next 3 or 4 months of working together, digging deep, and just really opening up our real power and purpose. So all those details are on the website. I just want to let you know about those. All right, now let's do some more work. All right, Jim.
Hi Chris, how are you?
Wonderful.
I want to release on money.
On money. Uh-huh.
Money. I want to be financially independent.
Okay. So notice what you said. I want to be financially independent. I think a lot of us can resonate with this. We kind of want it. But how real does it feel to you when you say that you want it?
It's difficult.
Right. So you want it, but the reality is difficulty. And that's the thing that we have to really pay attention to here. Now, where's the difficulty coming from? Right now as you're talking to me.
I have like fear, mixed feelings, fear, anxiety, and all the bad scenarios coming to my mind.
And see, right now as we're talking, see, you don't have like the government or, the news media right now in the room with you telling you these things. You don't have a situation that's right in the room. So as we're having this conversation, what you're telling me is information that your mind has recorded, and it's telling you right now that you have difficulties.
Yeah.
You get that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's important to pay attention to. Now, who does that mind belong to?
Me?
Okay. And what it's telling you, you don't like, right? Can you see that you're
Yeah, I
fighting
do.
with your mind? And you're wanting a way out of it.
And it's frustrating.
Okay. So get in touch with that frustration. Now, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most frustrated, and 0 being the least frustrated, where are you with the frustration?
10.
Okay. And that frustration, can you see you don't like the frustration? Doesn't feel
No.
good feeling frustrated, right? So when you had the
Yes.
experience of frustration, basically you're saying no to it, right?
Yes.
Now, when you say no to the frustration, does it make it go away? Or does it make it worse?
It makes it worse. Like, I
Yeah.
can't explain it, but it's so agitating.
Yeah. And who's saying no to it? You are.
I
So
have.
you're in charge here. You're in charge of your experience.
Yes.
So now that you see that, and now that you see that you're in the driver's seat here, and you see that no isn't working, now we're going to try a different tactic. Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So look at that frustration. Look at that 10. And this time, say yes to it. Just say yes to that frustration.
Yes.
And could you say yes to that frustration a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you say yes to it a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you say yes to it even more?
Yes.
And could you say yes to it even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you say yes to the frustration even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
I have loosened up a little bit.
Okay, good. And where are you now on a scale of 0 to 10?
Maybe 6, 6, I think.
Okay. And can you say yes to that frustration that's at a 6?
Yes.
See, if saying yes got you from a 10 to a 6, let's keep going. Could you say yes to that frustration even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you say yes to it even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you say yes to that frustration even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
Right? And how does that feel?
Um, I it. I feel now. I feel sad.
You feel what? Sad?
Sad.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you say yes to the sadness?
Yes.
Just say yes to it. Just a feeling coming up now, right? See, it just rose up into your awareness.
Yes.
And see, a lot of times we're like, oh no, why am I feeling sad? I don't like that. And we say no to it. And we push it back down. But say yes to it so it can come up and leave.
Yes.
And say yes to the sadness some more.
Yes.
and say yes to it some more.
Yes.
All right. And how does that feel?
I feel lighter a bit.
Okay. So you're saying yes to the sadness and the sadness is going away. How easy is that?
Yeah.
Right? Now, can you welcome up the rest of it? Invite up the rest of that sadness and frustration. So you already have the energy flowing. Now let go of holding down the rest. Let it come up and just let it leave. And watch it just go right on out that door.
Yes.
Right? And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
It feels like I have to do it a lot more, but I feel better.
Okay. See, that's an important thing. You just notice you feel a little bit lighter. That's all we're looking for. Sometimes we're waiting for a radical shift to happen. It might, but it doesn't have to. So you're moving in the right direction. If you just keep doing it, it's going to keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So keep following along. And just keep letting go.
How can I get better at releasing? Like, I wanna be a little better.
Okay. Do you have any of the courses? I know you follow along with the YouTube videos, but I kind of keep them at a very basic level because it's just kind of like a general audience with that.
Like someone gave me the goals and resistance course. And yeah, I've started out, but it seems very difficult in the beginning.
Well, I'd recommend doing the 21-day course because it explains everything and it goes through all the basics of it. And see, what's really required if you want to get this to completion is you got to really dig. And it's good to let go, open up the door and let go of the frustration that's bothering you in the moment. That's great. But if you really want to dig it all out, you got to go into your subconscious thinking. So there's two aspects to this work. One is the tools of releasing, which you're probably familiar with some of the basic ones, but there are some more comprehensive ones that we use. That's used in this, it's used in that goals and resistance course. And so it'll be good to really understand those tools and practice them and get good at them. So you have the tools to get good at, but then you have the exercises that are the vehicle for using the tools. And it's the exercises that get you to really dig into your subconscious. So you can look at all that stuff that's in there, stuff that you've forgotten about from ages past, fears and frustrations and stuff. But when you start digging in, they'll come up. And you'll see them and you'll drop them. That's how you really effectively move yourself into a permanent, new stage. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. It's not complicated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's that simple. Don't make it out to be more complicated than that. So you just have some tools. You just have to use them. You have to get good at them.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. And
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And also what's required is a healthy work attitude. See, some of us were a little bit too lazy to release. It's good a little bit here and a little bit there. But we want it to come to us. Some of us want someone to just come and tap us on the head and take away all of our troubles. But the thing is, we got to take responsibility. All that garbage in our mind, like I said at the beginning, we fill our mind up with a bunch of stuff, and it's just a recording and playback machine. We put it in there, and we put in all of our negative feelings. Every time we said no to our frustration, every time we said no to our fear, we suppressed it. We push it down into our subconscious. We've been holding on to it and carrying it with us. And some of it we forgot about, and it's buried deep. So we had to have, like I said, a very healthy work ethic. An attitude of, hey, I'm going to just roll up my sleeves, do whatever it takes, even if I have to work at it. I'm going to get it done because it's my responsibility. No master's going to come along and take it away for me. I got to do that myself. I'm the master. I have to prove it to myself. So that's another key thing. If you want to really get to where Lester's at. All right, Julian.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice to speak to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to share that I've been feeling really angry these last days at the vast majority of people who don't see the manipulation of this whole crisis, and who just buy into the media, the main media versions, and who just get manipulated. And I'm afraid of what's gonna happen in the next few months or years.
Okay.
And I'm angry that people don't wake up, don't see what's happening, and don't see the manipulation of the elites.
Okay. Now notice your options. You can go out there and, yell, like raise your voice to get others to hear you and speak against the media, right? Protest, fight against them and all that. But see, when we take action like that, we go down. We're just fueling the whole thing. There's no resolution there. That's why there's never any resolution between the left and the right. They can never come together, and at certain times the right is ahead, certain times the left is ahead, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth. The best attitude is, well, take care of myself and take care of myself, love myself first, be loving, clear out my own consciousness, and from there, then I can make an impact on the world. Right? It's from a different position, from a place of peace. So you got to take care of yourself first. That's the best thing you can do. You can still speak out, you can still protest, but take care of yourself first. You're going to do it much more effectively.
Okay.
It's like they say in the airplane. Put on your mask first before you help the other ones around you. And the best way we can help the world is to lift up our consciousness. Now, can you see you're not feeling so loving about the others?
Yes.
And see, what you're doing is you're adding to the negativity. You're not helping it. And you don't have an answer. You're feeling frustrated. So you're kind of stuck, right?
Yeah.
So let's start there. Right? Could you let go of disapproving of those others? Because that's not going to help you talk to them or change their minds, right?
No.
Okay, so could you let go of disapproving of them? And it doesn't mean that you have to agree with them or let them be crazy. See, look at it this way. Don't do it for them. Do it for you. Because you're feeling frustrated, right?
Yes.
So you're frustrated because you're being negative towards them. And there's no resolution, so you're stuck with that frustration.
Well, the solution would be to all stand up. But for that, we need the majority of people.
Yeah, but look, if you're angry and you're frustrated, you're not going to be effective. If you go to a higher energy, you're going to be more effective and inspire others to stand up if that's what you want to do. Right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So look, like I said, the point of this conference here tonight is to really understand the power of love. And we're not going to understand it from our mind. We're going to understand it by doing it. Would you be willing to do it and experience it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So first of all, could you let go disapproving of them? And it only makes sense because it's not changing anything. It's not helping it. All it's doing is making you feel bad. You see that?
Yes.
Right? So could you let it go? Yes or no?
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of them a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of them a little bit more?
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of them even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of them a little bit more?
Yes.
All right? How does that feel?
Like yeah, less tight in my stomach.
Yeah. See, like I said, don't do it for them, do it for you. See,
Yes.
why carry that weight on your shoulders
Yes.
or on your chest? All right. So let go of the rest of your judgments about those people, how stupid they are.
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of the media? Ah, that's a big one, right?
Yes.
But
Very.
look at it this way. They're like a negative ego.
Mm.
And when you feed the ego negativity, it just gets more powerful, right?
Yes.
So when you feed that, if you're disapproving of the media, you're just empowering them. So could you let go of disapproving of them? That's a smart thing to do.
Yes.
Could you let go of disapproving of them some more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of them some more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of them even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Also better in my belly, in my stomach.
Yeah. And look, you could still speak out. You can still point out when they're lying. The difference is you don't have this hateful energy, which only affects you. And see, now you could see things more clearly, you could think more clearly, and take more effective action, if action is required. Right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way?
Yes.
Right now,
I feel it now.
since this isn't so bad moving this direction, let's go even further. Could you give the media some love and approval? Try it.
Oh my God.
It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them.
Uh,
Just give them some love. Could you love them a little bit more? Just a little bit, not too much. Just a little.
Yes.
And could you love them even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you just give them approval? Look, they're human beings. They might be running from their ego. The ego's telling them to do crazy things. But behind that ego, just like you, right? You see, you have an ego. You have a mind that talks to you. It sometimes leads you around, sometimes leads you astray. But who are you? Your presence, who owns that ego, who's listening to it. Right? You felt that, right?
Yes.
It's a very nice thing, part of you. Guess what? They have it too. Now, if you're disapproving of them, guess what? You're empowering their ego. If you're giving them love, you're empowering their beingness. And they might wake up, respond to that. See, we all feel each other. So if you're giving them love, it might open up something where they see for themselves, oh, look at what I'm doing. I don't want to be doing this anymore. You see, this is something that's way more effective than protesting. So could you love them a little bit more?
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
And see, you're the beneficiary here. See, when you're loving, what do you get to feel? Love. When you're hating, what do you get to feel?
Hate.
Yeah. See, they have an expression. Having a grudge against somebody is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. And you see, experientially now, what's really going on. So, this is a point that I was making before. Sometimes we think that we're loving when we're really not. And sometimes we feel justified in not loving. But when we stop and really see what we're doing and with the results that we're getting by doing what we're doing, you see it doesn't work. And loving is the way. And it's through practicing loving that you start to discover all these really great things. That problems disappear, that you can have whatever it is that you choose to have. Just hold in mind what you want, and that's exactly what you'll get. And love is the solution to seeing that for yourself firsthand. And it's a skill. You just practice it. It's not really a skill, it's just who you are. But it just takes practice to be yourself at first. And then you'll discover it's super simple.
Okay.
All right. How do you feel now? When you look at the situation, is it more possible to find a solution? Do you feel more positive about it?
Yes, I feel like I have more clarity.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can still take action. You can do whatever needs to be done or not.
Yeah.
The difference is the clarity. You're in a higher energy. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, so let's do one more. And then we're going to do a big cleanup. Well, we'll do two more. We got two hands up. All right, so Christina, how are you?
Hello, Chris. Generally quite well. Today, not so much. So I'm glad we're having this call together.
I saw
So
you sent me a text. I kind of scanned through it quickly before I jumped on here. But I saw at the end that you would be on the call, so I'll just let you tell me what it is
yes,
that.
of course. Yes, so I realized something that actually I was struggling with, and I was actually struggling not to see it, ironically. I realized that I do a lot of releasing and I work with different tools. And most of the time I get stuck when it comes to taking action.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I realized I developed in time is all kinds of excuses not to do something or to expect somehow, the universe or something to push me to do it. And now I feel like it's really out there in front of me, and I really need to look at it and find the most loving way to move through it, because my mind tried, of course, beating myself up,
Okay, so
and that
first of all,
doesn't.
Christina, can you see you're trying to figure out how to get through it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So you're asking your mind. Since you're
yes.
asking your mind, go ahead and ask it. Does it have an answer?
No,
It doesn't. So if it doesn't have an answer, then you can stop asking it.
yes,
All right? Now see if you're disapproving of yourself for not taking action.
yes.
How does that help you to disapprove of yourself?
It doesn't.
And who's doing it?
I am.
So if you're doing it and it's not getting you the results, now you need to make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide?
To be positive.
Could you let go of disapproving of yourself then?
Yes,
Could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
yes,
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
yes,
And even more?
yes,
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
yes,
And even more?
yes,
And even more?
yes,
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
yes,
And even more?
yes.
And how does that feel?
Much lighter.
Now, could you give yourself some approval? Even if you take no action and get nothing done, could you love yourself anyway?
Yes,
See, the reason why you're stuck is because you're judging yourself and you're beating yourself up about the action. And you're still trying to figure it out.
yeah,
That's where a lot of people get stuck. And so they say, well, this releasing doesn't work. I'm releasing, but nothing is happening. And I'm not inspired to take any action. Well, you're not fully releasing. You're letting
Yeah.
yourself get stuck in apathy. And that's not what releasing or love is all about. And then you try to figure out, what am I doing wrong? Well, let me try this other course. Let me go to Landmark or something. They're all about taking action, right? And then they fill your head with a bunch of information, and then you're confused. Well, what do I do? All right, let's just take action. Right? That's the answer. Right?
yes,
So look, it just goes right back to the basics. You're trying to figure it out, and you're beating yourself up.
yes,
Right? So could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
yes,
And could you let go of
Yes.
disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
yes,
And even more.
yes,
And even more.
yes,
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
yes,
And even more.
yes,
And even more.
Yes.
And how do you feel now?
Quiet.
Now, could you give yourself some approval?
Yes.
Even if you sit around and do nothing.
Yes.
Now, your ego doesn't like that. It's going to look at an opportunity to jump on you. See, look, you're doing nothing.
Yes.
Beat yourself up. That's all that's going on.
Yes.
You don't need to go trying a bunch of different things. Use the tools, the solution. It's right in front of you.
Yes.
You see, if you say that it's not working, it's because you're not doing it. And I'm not just saying this to you. I'm saying this for everybody here, because this is a good lesson for all of us. When we find ourselves stuck, we try to make it more complicated rather than going back to basics. Now, could you love yourself? Yes or no?
Yes.
And could you love yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you love yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you love yourself even more?
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Feels soft, like something is melting.
Okay, now just let it melt.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this. Where are you on this chart of emotions now? And where were you before? Where were you before and where are you now? From apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, courageousness, acceptance, and peace.
I was in apathy and sometimes a little in grief while being angry with myself.
And where are you now?
Now I feel courageous.
And see, that's the thing. If you get stuck, if you feel like, okay, I'm released, I feel like there's nothing going on in my mind, but nothing's happening, I'm stuck, I need to take action, right? You could see where you are on the chart and say, oh, well, I'm kind of in a low place. Let's move up, right? See, in courageousness, you could take action. It's easy.
Yes.
See, is it easier to take action?
Yes, it's much more peaceful now. I can do whatever I want.
Right, exactly. So it's not that releasing robbed you of the ability to take action. You just weren't releasing. You were just, stuck in apathy. That's all. But when you release, you can take action. I take lots of action. But I also release, and lots more happens without taking action. It's like Lester said, and I said earlier, do the next best thing. Right? So you release, and if you get the action or you get the results without lifting a finger, great. If not, so what? You go ahead and do the work anyway. But you find that you do the work. I was telling this to Ashok, right? So you do the work, and you find, well, I'm doing it, I'm taking the action, but it's easy. It's not a big deal. And I'm doing it, and I'm kind of doing it in more creative ways, and I'm really like taking good action, right? So you see you're more effective, and it's easy. And it's the releasing, it's moving up into courageousness, acceptance, and peace that makes it easy. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. And see, if you have blocks to take an action, which a lot of us do, you have judgments about it. I know I do. It's, ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to slack off, not study, all that. And when I worked, I was one of the worst workers. I was constantly wasting time. I was sleeping on the job and getting away with all sorts of things. because I wanted to be lazy. Most of us probably aren't as bad as I was, but most of us have tendencies like this. And so we have programs about it. And this is something, like I said before, the reason why doing the classes is so effective, because it's not just releasing passively, a little bit here, a little bit there when you get bothered. But it's about getting proactive, digging into the subconscious stuff before it could bite you in the rear end. So you do the exercises, you do the work. And what you could do is you could do attachments and aversions to taking action. See what that brings up. Might bring up some thoughts and feelings you got, right?
Oh, yes, I'm feeling it.
So you got a bunch there. So you got to take responsibility. Use the exercise to start knocking them out.
Yes.
This is where the real work is done. This is why I say, look, you got to do the course. You got to, for those of you who are new, this is why for $97, you got nothing to lose. That's going to give you everything, all the tools you need. And if you want to really apply yourself and work at the highest level, then join us for the 6-week course here, starting in May. Right? So this is my humble advice for everybody here. And this just comes from my experience. This is what it takes. And it really is simple when you do it. You're going to start laughing at how simple it is. You know that. You've been there. But,
Yes.
The mind creeps back in. It can get you to doubt yourself. It can get you to question yourself. It can get you to say, oh, this releasing doesn't work. And then you just have to discriminate. It's like, wait, no, that's not true. Just like when it's not true when it tells you, oh, whatever you do, you never win. That's not true. There's lots of things that I win at. There are lots of things that go my way. And with the releasing, there's lots that I've gained from it.
Yeah.
So why do I want to listen to my mind and have it discourage me or distract me, send me off to something else?
Yeah, exactly.
When this is the most effective, direct way of eliminating the problem right at its source. Yeah, so do those attachments and aversions.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, good. Good work. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a cleanup, and we'll conclude. Well, let me just check in with somebody. Rosie, I'll contact you offline. If you got something you want to work on, we can work together. Isabel, I want to check in with you because you got the course recently. You've been working on it. How are you doing with the course?
Very well. It was really interesting and it's helped me a lot. But I noticed how I'm a little bit where Christina is. I'm a little bit stuck with the doing. So, yeah, so much actually. I've been very disappointed before because I've done a lot with little results. I'm an entrepreneur, and it felt like such a struggle, so much doing. And now I'm kind of like putting pressure on myself of doing that one right thing. So I'm like, I don't want to do too much to have resistance to doing, and it feels like I'm waiting till that thing pops up, like the right direction. So yeah, that's where I'm at for now.
Okay, so we're going to just take that as what it is, because that's your picture right now. And what you just described to me, does that bring up a wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe?
Control and safe.
All right. So you're feeling out of control. You want control. And as long as you want it, you don't have it. You can't want and have at the same time. So now that you see that wanting control, would you rather want it or would you rather have it?
Have it.
Okay, so could you let go of wanting control now?
Yes.
Could you let go of wanting control a little bit more?
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And can you see, as much as you want it, you don't have it. And the more you want it, the more you feel like you don't have it, right?
Yes.
So let go of the wanting for it. You got nothing to lose. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to wanting it. But right now, just really concentrate. Can you let go of wanting to control your business?
Yes.
Could you let that go some more?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And could you let that go even more? And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
It's lighter. There's still that little voice in my head that's like, this particular one is so hard because it's always coming in and saying, yeah, but what if, you haven't proven this yet.
Okay. So look, what I'll do is I'm going to play your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk to you like your mind talks to you. And whatever I say, just say, I love you.
Okay.
Right? See, we have a mind that talks to us. Sometimes it says nice things, most of the time not so nice. But it's always like bombarding us with stuff, worries and judgments and things. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at what they're doing, right? And then when you grab onto that thought, it just pulls you away. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you're lost in it, and then you're judging somebody. It's like, well, why am I doing that? I'm just being negative. And it's not even true. Mm-hmm. So it takes a little bit of practice and awareness to just watch the thoughts come up and just see them for what they are. And instead of just grabbing hold of them and letting them pull us off, mm-hmm. we just stay present with it. And so this is what we're going to do right here. Okay. So whatever I say, just say I love you. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Look, if you don't take action, nothing's going to get done.
I love you.
You know, this stuff, it sounds nice, but it's not practical.
I love you.
And I've listened to all of these law of attraction people and so on, and a lot of them are really full of it.
I love you.
This stuff it's a big con.
I love you.
And it's misleading.
I love you.
And I know from my own experience, if I don't take action, nothing happens.
I love you.
But you know what? At the same time, I don't like taking action. I'm tired of struggling.
I love you.
And this business is so hard.
I love you.
Sometimes I don't want to do it anymore.
I love you.
So I really wish releasing would work so I wouldn't have to take action. I would love to have a big booming business without having to do anything.
I love you. So true.
But that's not working.
I love you.
So maybe the releasing doesn't work.
I love you.
Or maybe I have to be like a monk and give up everything.
I love you.
But I don't know what the answer is. And I still have to make a living.
I love you.
So maybe I'll forget all this stuff and just work.
I love you.
All right. How does that feel?
That was so spot on. It was really good, yeah.
But you see the difference here?
Yeah.
When you just, whatever your mind says, don't take it seriously. Just say, I love you. I love you. And you say it gets quieter. It calms down. And then something else opens up and you start to see a different picture.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very powerful because this automatic reflex of just constantly judging your own thoughts
Mm-hmm.
keeps you so stuck in it. It's something I rarely see. Like you say, it's like, oh, just the judging, seeing it and then instantly judging it.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah. But see,
repeating.
when you start judging it, you validate it. You
Exactly.
make your ego right.
Mm.
But if you just say I love you, see, the ego has got nowhere to go with it. Because you're saying I am in charge. I love you. I give you permission to be there. Why? Because I'm confident. You have nothing on me. You can't do anything to me. Right? So I'm not
Yeah.
bothered by you. You can say whatever you want. I love you anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
See, that's a powerful place to be. And how you get there is letting go of your reactivity. See where it stirs you up, those thoughts. Let them go.
mm.
And
Yeah.
then you're just peaceful. And the mind can't budge you.
Super powerful. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you working on goals from the course?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to, but it's been really like a roller coaster with Corona. So I noticed that I'm like trying to just release what's bugging me, and then
Well, use your
because also,
goals because they're very powerful. They take you to the same releasing as the things that are bugging you.
okay,
And it's
so
all
I can
connected.
okay,
You
I
see
can
the
do both.
same insecurities and fears you have in your goal. It's with what's bugging you. If you have your goal, you take it out of the other place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I don't have to first get myself to neutral place and then work on goals.
Yeah. And so the
That's
goal
smart.
will keep you focused on the end result, on where it is that you're going. It's
Yeah.
also going to allow you to release on it. But here's the thing: as you're releasing on it, you can still take action.
Hmm.
You see, someone from Leicester, a master, they can just create by thinking only. That's Lester's challenge.
Hmm.
He challenged the graduates who were very good at releasing and were in a very high place.
Mm-hmm.
And see, a lot of us, we get to a nice, peaceful place, and we feel like, well, I don't need to let go. Life is good. And we stop short. But Lester really gave him a challenge. It's like, look, can you get everything by thinking only? If not, you're not there.
Wow.
Right? So, he was using that to prod us. And that's where Master's coming from. You can get everything by releasing only. Now, you don't have to jump the whole puddle all at once. You could start crossing it. Right? So you're releasing, you're moving in that direction, but you still take action. And you could take action and use a releasing while you take action. So if you're taking action, you find you're efforting at it, you have resistance to it, you could use a releasing for that. So you get the resistance out of the way. And then you take the action, but now it's easy. It doesn't feel like any work. And as you release, your action gets more and more effortless. You get more and more happy. And then you get to a place where I don't care if I'm working. I don't care if I'm at the office or I'm on the beach. It's all the same. Because I'm just peaceful in my beingness.
Yeah.
And then that's where you're starting to be in a more of a high state like a master. And then your mind is quiet. And then it might occur to you, well, wait, what if I just decide to have this particular goal? And with a quiet mind, it's that fast and simple. And you see, you create it just by thinking only. So you don't have to worry about getting there all at once. Take action, do what's necessary, but release along the way, and you'll get there.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Wonderful.
Really good.
Yeah, good work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so let's conclude with a nice meditation. All right, close your eyes. Let yourself get nice and relaxed. And see if you're worried about what's going on in the world. And why do you want to worry about it? Does worrying solve anything? Have you ever worried yourself out of a problem? And look at what you're doing when you're worrying. What are you holding in mind? When you're worrying about something, are you picturing solutions? Or are you just staring at the problem itself? And if the mind is a creative instrument, and you're just holding in mind the problem, that's what you get. This is why Lester said, pay attention to your thinking and correct it. And you correct it by letting go of the worry. And the worry doesn't help you. Could you let it go? Just say yes to the worry right now. Say yes to it. And say yes to your worry. And whatever it is that you're concerned about, just say yes to the concern, the worry, and say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. Now, how do you feel? Has the worrying gone down just by saying yes to it? And look at what this shows you. The fact that you are the master here, not the worry. You are. When you decide to get positive, when you just come from a position of yes, it dissolves the problem. It dissolves the worry. So if you are bigger than that, why entertain the worry? Now look at your habit. See, part of you likes to worry. Might not seem obvious, but you get some benefit out of it, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So what do you get out of worrying? Does it make you smart? Maybe you can plan for possible scenarios. If you worry about it, maybe you'll be more aware. But examine that. Does it really make you smart? Now, who does that worry belong to? You. Now, the easiest way just to let it go is to look at it now. Say yes to it. So whatever it is that you're worried about, just say yes to it. So yes is love. And that's what we're here to explore, the power of love. Practice it now. Just say yes to that worry. And say yes to it some more. And say yes to it some more. And some more. And some more. And take a look at the problem itself. Maybe you have a situation where you don't have a job. Or maybe you're still looking at some of the things that came up on the call here. Stupid people creating a problem. The media. Right? That's a problem, right? Now, if you say no to that problem, if you fight with it, where does that get you? You know that. You fought with lots of problems throughout your whole life. Did fighting ever really resolve it? So since that doesn't work, look right at that problem, and instead now, just say yes to the problem. Just say yes to it. Try it out. Say yes to that problem a little bit more. And say yes to it a little bit more. And say yes to it even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. Now take a look at that problem. And see if it's as big as it was a few moments ago. Or is that problem smaller now? There's a difference, right? Now what this shows you is the problem is only in your head. That's how it can seem so big one moment and small the other moment. It's been in your head this whole time. It's not out there. It's not real. It's only as real as you think it is. If you fight with it, you'll never see the truth. If you try to figure it out, you'll never see the truth. If you try to work your way around it, you'll never see the truth. The only way you'll see the truth is going through it with an attitude of love, of surrender, openness, vulnerability even, just allowing yourself to be open. That's a loving thing. So right now, can you just open yourself up and love the problem? You know how to love. There's been many people and things that you've loved without having to think about it. Right? And just the same way, can you love the problem? Just love it. Whatever it is. Could you love it a little bit more? And could you love it a little bit more? And a little bit more. And could you love it a little bit more? And even more. And could you love it even more? And how does that feel? Is the problem smaller? So it only stands to reason. If you keep loving it, it'll keep getting smaller until it disappears. And Lester said that. Any problem, no matter how big the problem, dissolves immediately when the love is complete. And what we've been exploring this evening is paying attention to our non-loving feelings and attitudes. Sometimes we say we are, but we really aren't. So you got to be honest with yourself. And wherever you see the non-love, that's what's in your way. That's the only thing that's stopping you from being happy and having everything that you want. So just love. 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 Now get a picture of your mind. You see, that's the thing that blocks you from loving. That little voice in your head. It's not a loving thing at all, is it? But it belongs to you. You own it. So get a picture of your mind, whatever that looks like to you. And right now, just imagine that picture dissolving away. let that picture evaporate and dissolve. And allow it to evaporate and dissolve even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And get a picture of your body, whatever that looks like to you. Now, if you didn't have a body to look after, what would you have to worry about? Can't you see that everything that matters in the world, everything that's bothering you, comes back to your body? How does it affect this body? Is what's going on going to threaten this body's survival? Or restrict freedoms of this body to go out and do what this body wants to do, or do what I like to do with this body? What if it's just a picture in your mind? Get that picture in your mind of your body. And could you allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And get a picture of your ego. Whatever that looks like to you. That identity that you're carrying around. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders. You have to defend it. You have to justify it. You have to feed it, because it's always hungry for more, more, more. Right? So, whatever that ego looks like to you, could you just allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? Then could you allow it to evaporate and dissolve even more? And even more. And even more. Now ask yourself, if I'm not my mind, if I'm not my body, and if I'm not my ego, who am I? Take what you get. There's no wrong answer here. Just take whatever you get and let that answer take you wherever it's going. If I'm not my mind, if I'm not my body, if I'm not my ego, who am I? What am I? Just surrender to that answer. Whatever comes to your mind, just surrender to it. And surrender. Just surrender. Are you? What is your answer? Are you? Are you? That's it. That's all you need to be. just in alignment with I am. And that's enough. So let go of all of your other wants and desires just for this moment. And surrender to I am. Let go of all of your agendas, all of your goals for this moment. Just allow yourself to be. Just now, in this moment, just be. Are you? Are you? Are you? Now see if this part of you can be destroyed. See if this part of you can ever go hungry. See if there's anything that can stop this part of you. Or is it unstoppable? Are you? Are you? Now keep allowing this to unfold. Keep letting go. Because this is the real you. And for far too long, you've been covering it up with all of your goals and all the work that you've been putting into your life. For what? So the government can snap their fingers and remove that from you? That's not where you want to put all your focus and energy. Put it on you. Put it on your true purpose. Right? And on that note, just a reminder. May 8th is the start of the Living Your True Purpose course. We're going to dive into this big time. And if you want to continue on, you can add on the wealth. Beyond that, you can get both of those. You can add on that 6-week wealth course onto that for just $100. So all the details are on the website, powerofquiet.com. And if you're new, just get started with the 21-day course. You can see here with this coupon code MF200. You can get for $97. And there's also a guarantee. So even if you feel like it's not right for you, no problem. But do that. That's a smart thing to do. Because it's going to give you all the tools to really dig into all the stuff that you have buried inside that you forgot is in there. Time to take that out. So you can be effortlessly who you really are. All right. So thank you for being here and sharing this love. I really do feel a privilege of being here with you and sharing this work. And I'm very grateful for you joining me and participating. And together we are connected. And together we are powerful. And so I thank you for sharing in this power and sharing yourself. All right. So we'll see you next week. I'll schedule another one. And if you aren't on the email list, just go to Power of Quiet and you'll get notified when we do our next group coaching call like this. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.